Welcome back, everybody, to Champions of the Fog. I will be your host today, littlerugaard, and joining me is none other than the man himself, Giltspire. How you doing today, sir?
Doing pretty well. Doing pretty well. Cannot complain.
I
You could?
We're almost at the end of qualifiers. I am sad.
I mean,
I've had fun with these.
It's been actually a lot of fun doing qualifiers. Really a big change of pace for both us as well as the competitive community getting used to Swiss tournament style. But with it being said, we definitely have seen some fruitful results from this experiment, and we'll probably see some more Swiss tournament qualifiers in the future. So have to be prepared for that. But we have some exciting matches ahead of us today with Millennium and Deathwish kicking things off.
Indeed. And if I remember correctly, last weekend, Deathwish was pretty on a hot streak. And if I remember correctly, they had an unfortunate crash, or I think it was an internet issue at the very end, which ended up costing them. So I imagine they're going to be doing pretty well today. I'm excited to see what they bring to the table as they run the gauntlet of qualifiers again. I wonder if we'll see a similar strategy as we saw last week, maybe.
Yeah, I would definitely think that to be the case. So we'll have to wait and see, and fingers crossed for no more netcode issues, as that is always a nightmare. One of those things where you go, well, I can't exactly do anything about that, so I'm just going to suffer.
Just like I can't really do anything ever about frames, because I think we dropped frames at the beginning, but fingers crossed that's not going to be an issue today. If it is, I might have to throw it over to Giltspire, and I don't want to do that, but we'll be keeping an eye on it regardless. But Millennium, I believe, is killing first, right? Yes?
Yep, that is correct. Millennium is going to be coming out killing first, and as a reminder, we are starting off on the Torment Creek with the options of the Demogorgon, the Executioner himself, and the Mommy the Plague.
I was about to say, I distinctly like Plague. I think Plague is the most favorite, but the fact that we haven't seen I don't think I've seen Demogorgon on Torment Creek so far, which is kind of surprising because Leprous Lichen is allowed, and it's a corn map, so having vision in corn I thought would be imperative. I thought people would be trying that out, but I'm surprised not to see that.
Yeah, I definitely am surprised about that as well. So, you know, who knows? Maybe in these last two qualifying rounds, we'll see someone shake that up and bring the good old Demodog. But in the meanwhile, we have seen Plague pretty much not at a 100% pick rate, but
seen some
pretty
executioners,
freaking close.
Yeah, we have seen a couple of executioners here and there, but yeah, every time Plague is brought, it's just an absolute slaughter. I think we've seen one game where the survivors played against the Plague and actually managed to, get some points and get an out or two, but usually, like, Plague is just so tough to fight through on that map. There's surprisingly, despite the fact there's a lot of line of sight blockage in the middle of it, Plague can get a lot of her shots off. I don't know how, but they manage it.
No. You are correct. So definitely is going to be interesting to see who might end up being the better Plague, as that has been kind of the gist of round one for the most part. And won't be too long now, I believe, before we find out what killer has been brought to the table here for match number one.
Indeed. And my guess is it's Plague. If it's not Plague, I'll be pleasantly surprised. Oh, what's that? It's Plague. Now,
I mean, who would have thunk?
They don't have what I've been seeing recently. They actually did bring the Devotee's Amulet. I was expecting double apple. We've seen a lot of double apples on this map.
Yeah, we've been seeing more double apple, but Devotee, it definitely varies between the two. It's either Devotee's Amulet or double apple, somewhere in between. Ooh. You know what we are seeing that I'm still surprised to be seen is Hex perks. It has made a huge resurgence with the ban of Deadlock.
I mean, that is obviously a really decent Hex area because it is hard to see those totems in the corn like that instead of, in a corner of the map where they're obvious.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, you're not wrong to say the least, but I'm sure these survivors know their totem spawns, and I'm sure we'll feel that pop in just right now.
I jinxed it, Flag. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. Forgive me. You know, that is fair. I've seen a couple of games so far where the totems actually did a lot of work because they just didn't find them, didn't cleanse, they didn't prioritize them, and it ended up costing them the game. Like, we had one match last week that was like MVP to ruin. Oh man, that hit though. That might be ping, but that was no, actually no. That checks out. I don't know a spectator, but that hits in my brain. That actually hits.
Yeah, no, it hits in my brain as well, and it just comes down to I definitely still stand by the fact that behavior at some point did update and or change hit validation in some way, shape, or form.
True, it has been a lot different for me recently. Absolutely. I really wish they would update us on what happens on these like little shadow updates they do, because it really does change a lot.
You like how they shadow buff Badham?
Oh please no. I don't. I can't right now. I mean, to be fair, my Badham games haven't been that atrocious for me, so I can't complain. But also worth noting, this is 5 gens, and we still have one person. Like, someone's hooked at 5 gens, and the play can camp this a little bit.
Yeah, but if we do see here, Nancy is not infected, so the Plague is actually going to have to contest this and ensure that they either get the grab or wait it out to second stage. But Nancy getting boxed out there. This area here, I think you need 2 people.
You absolutely do.
Because the killer can very much body block, and Nancy will be going down. Osaka to second stage. This is not looking good for these survivors.
No, that might have been a miscommunication on their part. They definitely needed a second survivor for that. I didn't realize how tight that area in the corner of that tile is. That's actually kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a unique spawn there for the hook, to say the least, and Plague making full use of it. And I think now their saving grace is going to be a survivor cleansing, trying to get the pickup on Nancy, but even that is going to be a tall order, as Time Lords here will be camping out Osaka, potentially to death.
Absolutely. I'm trying to think, is there anything? I just realized, so the killer can body block the center of it, and 2 survivors are on either side, but they can't body block the normal way you would to try and, you know, set up the save.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing they're going for the hook. I think they saw that the survivors are nowhere nearby, and so no one's gonna be able to get that save on Osaka, and so this is gonna be first hook for Nancy, death hook for Osaka. I do not know what you can do as a survivor squad fighting out through thanatophobia. You get a second gen, but how many gens can you get from here?
Yeah, I mean, that is the question of the day. I think it just comes down to get as many gens as possible to kind of buffer your killer going up in the next match. Because if you don't, and they need to get, you know, a 4K before 3 gens are completed, things ain't looking good.
Absolutely. And, oh, that curve is not gonna hit. Oh my goodness, that... I thought that little flick at the end with the vomit would have gotten a hit on Ace, but maybe it was Dead Hard that got rid of it. I can't tell.
I was about to say, I'm pretty sure Ace thought that too, and definitely panic hit that that E button there for that Dead Hard for sure.
And another close shot at the window. Ace living on by a thread here. Oh, wow, that actually fell short. That's surprising. Interesting.
Yeah, just barely. Ace is going on a run, it would seem, and I mean, it's can't last forever, I say, as he gets that mid-vault in front of the Plague, and now though he is out of position, will go down where we saw Osaka die on first hook, and Plague not going for the pickup. We haven't seen Unbreakable yet, so there is a possibility that Unbreakable is still in play.
True, and another very... These are such close shots that are missing right here. It's so... Oh my goodness. I had a thought. I forget what it was now, but it had to do with... There's only 1 hook state. Despite a survivor dead, they've only given 1 hook state so far, so they have been... Yeah, I think that's the pickup, though. I think that might be Nia getting the pickup there. Worth noting, too, I don't know if there's a hook back there anymore now that Osaka died on that 1 in the corner. So that 1 area might be a dead zone for hooks and pickups.
There is, however, the basement that they can utilize, as basement always
yeah.
does spawn at Shack, so
That's true.
that should be close enough to majority of the areas there.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I didn't. I keep forgetting that bit. Yeah, dry kicking feels so good on Plague when you've got Thanatophobia. You still got 3 stacks. They have only cleansed once to get an unhook, and that's it.
Yeah, speaking of dry kicking, I am curious to see how perks like Call of Brine are going to be used in Season 3 of COTF. We see dry kicking a whole lot more, and Hayes going back down. But I think Call of Brine could be a consistent pick for a lot of killers like the Plague, for example.
Especially, again, we're not talking about conferences for a second. We're talking about pubs. I love Pop Call of Brine. That is one of my favorite go-to combos now. It is so gross. That gen is just like, it's like, 90%. You come back to it, it's like 25. You're like, oh yeah, that's the good stuff right there.
Yeah, it is basically Ruin on a stick, and Ace back up once again. Last time, he definitely sat on the ground a little bit longer. This time, a much shorter time period. I am wondering if one of these has been an Unbreakable in some way, shape, or form. It had to been, because we hear that gen pop off in the distance, so amazing utilization of these resources here. And looks like we are now on the Nia here on the main building. But unfortunately for the survivors, I don't think they're going to be able to get the unhook in time, and we do see a second death on the board.
Indeed, I think at this point can the Nia loop out of their mind to give the Ace time to get one more gen done? Because if it looks to me like there's still a 3 gen for this killer. You got the gen at Shack, and then the 3 are back over here. So at the very least, the killer still has to prioritize a 3 gen. But you can still get Shack gen done, possibly.
Yeah, I think there's a very real possibility that we see another gen complete, because the Plague now he has to A, hook the Nia, but B, if they don't, hope that they don't have Unbreakable, but also have to pick the right gen. And we did see Crows, though. The Crows selling out the Ace once again. And unless there's Unbreakable on the Nia, it does appear that this game is over.
Quite so, and there is an Unbreakable on the Nia. Look at that.
So must have been a pickup on the Ace, and so yeah, this team is still in it for this 4th gen. No way in hell they're going to get the 5th, and that's a big oof right there.
That is.
With that hit through the window on the Ace, it looks like the Plague.
Whoa.
They got the gen.
In the 3 gen too. I didn't realize that gen had that much progress, but Ace did run from there, so I guess it makes some sense.
Yeah, I mean, the Plague never did go by that generator, so we never really did hear how much progression it had. And now the play might be here for Nia to give Ace enough time to crawl to hatch and see if the Plague makes a mistake, as the Plague does swing and miss, extending his chase just a little longer.
Just a little longer, but still going down under the pallet, and unfortunately no power struggle flip-flop to save the survivor. And there is Deliverance still to be accounted for, I believe, and both of these, at least the Nia has gotten an unhook, so we might still have Deliverance. So the killer, I think, has to wait here 60 seconds to, I think they have to confirm this, or they're gonna go... I'm pretty sure that Nia, I'm betting money that Nia has Deliverance.
Well, I'll have to find out. The question is, will it even matter if she does? Because if Ace is over here by Shack, unless I want... Oh, yep, there he is. Very much by Shack, waiting for Hatch. He has another minute on the board. He will bleed out by the time the Survivor on Hook dies, though.
I thought Survivor takes 4 minutes to bleed out. Is it
4 minutes? It might be 4. I may be thinking of like the number, the mass amount of numbers we have to deal with sometimes. Like, okay, this one takes 4 minutes.
Tell me about it.
This one takes 60.
Tell me about it, dude. That's you're speaking to my soul right here. And yeah, I guess Ace could have Deliverance. I would have. Well, no, they sent Nancy for the unhook, actually, didn't they? But
yes,
if Nia had the Unbreakable, you usually pair the Unbreakable on the Deliver. I don't know. We'll have to see. It could be like a last-second Deliverance. I don't know. Nope.
No Deliverance on the Nia. It comes down to the Ace, and there's not enough time on the clock for them to wait out the death on Hook. And not to mention that, but the Plague is right here by where Hatch will spawn in just a few moments.
Yep. And We haven't. Yeah, we haven't seen a Kobe from Ace yet. I don't think there'd be any reason. Wait, hold on. Yeah, there would be a reason. You Kobe right as they die. Hatch spawns.
That would be the idea. He does have Dead Hard to boot, but unfortunately, we're a little bit too hopeful, and that will be the death to Ace.
Hey, it would be such a clutch play. The problem is, I don't know if, like, do you have, like, you'd have to be smashing the E button as soon as you come up because of iframes.
Oh, yeah.
Who had the deliverance? Oh, it was Osaka. Yeah, it wasn't. Okay, yeah. Okay, never mind. The first person out of the game had the 2. Okay.
That sounds about right. That is par for the course right there. That is par for the course.
They drew the short straw, unfortunate, but well done to the play. And well done to the Survivors for getting that last gen done, so they did get a 4th one. But now, again, we've said it before, a heavy asking for the next killer to 4K at 4 gens.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the killer for Deathwish is in a lot of a better is much better spot here than they would have been if it was 3 gens completed.
True.
Only 2 gens completed. As you know, that was a very real possibility there for a while, but with that Unbreakable from the Nia, the Deathwish was able to bring it back just a little, hopefully giving their killer enough room to get the 4K, ideally before 4 gens and for the win, but I mean, 4-gen 4K for the tie is still a very real possibility.
True. In this situation, I could see the gamble on Ruin again. If they don't choose to cleanse it, it is a powerhouse, but maybe Pain Res? Just if not for the small bit of regression, but the information. You know?
I could see it.
Go double apple, Pain Res, try to get that first hook by especially if you could get a Scourge hook next to a pool as well. You get that information, you know where they are. Unfortunately, even if you get an early down, I don't think you can afford to camp it out too hard. So that's why I think the Devotee's Amulet might not be the case here. You don't want that 20 extra seconds to extend past that first stage. So I don't know. It's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Definitely a difficult spot for Deathwish, but not insurmountable based on what we've seen before.
True.
So we'll have to wait and see what Deathwish decides to bring to the table. And we've seen Osaka play pretty consistently for Deathwish, so we might be seeing Osaka again here.
True. And it is worth noting, not to call them out, but they were the ones that had connection issues last time. So I'm assuming they have, verified that everything's good to go. And they're, obviously they're the go-to for their team if you see them being played this much. So they are the go-to killer that they try to push. So hopefully everything works out in the end. I would like to see some games where we're actually able to complete them. Because I did see them kill last week, and they are a good killer. In fact, yes, I think they brought Plague last week, right?
I believe you are correct. I do believe Osaka brought in Plague. And I want to say it was a 4K at 3 gens.
Slaughter. Yeah, absolute slaughter. So we know they're a good killer. We know that they are a capable survivor. Now we have to figure out if they have capable net. I shouldn't be making these jokes, but man, coming from net issues myself, I feel that pain. My heart goes out to them.
But as we are waiting for this next match, I do want to remind everyone here today that we are partnered with Stream for a Cause. For those of you who do not know what Stream for a Cause is a non-profit organization based here in the United States, and they support a whole litany of different causes, from the war in Ukraine to the transgender bill in Texas to so much more. And with them, we have a charity called Champions for a Cause, where we are trying to generate funds via the donations of the community, you guys here. So if you guys are able to do so, please do donate at the very least $1 to help support the cause. And do know that our final donation amount in December will actually impact the Champions of Champions prize pool in some way, shape, or form. So if you are looking to participate in that, even more of a reason to donate just a little bit to that donation pool that we have going on right now. With that being said, we are going to take a quick break as we get these builds and lobbies set on up. So we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Stay tuned. All right, welcome back, everybody. We are loading in very quickly now. Gil, I'm putting you on the spot right here. Plague or no plague?
I'm going to say Plague. I mean, we saw Osaka play Plague last week, too. Or it was at least another qualifier. And they did work. And like I said, Plague has a very high pick rate for one reason or another, even though there's two really good options with the Executioner and Demo as well. So I think that we see Plague again from Osaka. And as a reminder, their goal is to get a 4K before 4 gens are completed, or to tie the game 4K at 4 gens. Both sides know what they need to do, and I imagine we're going to see these survivors sit on gens and not care about camping at this point, right?
Oh yeah, you cannot afford to camp this game whatsoever, eh? I am personally expecting. Oh, okay, never mind. I was gonna say like they could do Demo, but no, it's Plague. It's Plague. What do you expect? Also, I don't think Executioner is. I think Demo is actually a better pick than Executioner. think
for
that
this map or in general?
for this map, and it's because Demo has a way to deal with Corn Vision. Executioner, just, like, there's nothing. At least Plague has a metric ton of built-in slowdown and pressure. So
that is true. That is true, and we all know that every killer is allergic to corn, so that does make sense.
True. Oh my word! Right. Also, did I see 2 totems or just 1 totem? I think that's 2.
I think 2. I think that is 2 totems. I think you're right.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm curious if there's a Devour Hope.
I mean, it's definitely not set the wrong possibility. It would be a first time that we've seen it, but more likely, I imagine Ruin and the good old Undying.
Well, there is Ruin. We saw that gen regressing. I will say, I don't know if you saw the video. Is that an... Okay, that is Undying. Yeah, I was about to say that I thought that was Object for a second. I was like, no, that has to be Undying, because we just saw that aura. You see the aura of the Survivor in the distance?
Yep, that is indeed Undying, so that is a confirmation of Ruin, Undying, and the Corrupt Intervention. Last perk we haven't seen as of yet, though, I mean, it is Plague, so I'd imagine Thanatophobia.
I would be betting money on Thanatophobia, if we're being honest. It is Plague's bread and butter, and a Survivor is broken, it is Thanatophobia.
They are well aware of Thanatophobia being in effect, slowing them down by a good old 5%.
I would dare say they probably saw it coming. Was this girl cleansing?
It is very possible, as we see her over by the totem, and with Claudette now being injured, this is a very dangerous chase for this Survivor to be in, though the first down is taking a while, to say the least.
True. Also, I called it. Double apple. I think double apple is the best pressure. Oh, I can't believe that didn't hit. Oh.
Yeah, I think they're expecting the vault, and it did not happen. There's the dead hard for extension, but they did not take the bait, and Claudette will be going down at the pallet as we do see the first gen pop off.
And we did see a first totem get cleansed as well. So 1 totem down. Oh, and there's the other. Oh. Now the pressure's on. Where are the pools? You got 1 at main, you got 1 where they took the first chase. They've got a good spread on the pools. And you can drink up immediately, but you really don't want to. You want to say that because you don't have the Devotee's Amulet. You want to say that for the point of Snowball.
Yeah, no, you are 110% correct. We do see an injured Nia there. It looks like he will not commit to chase, though, as we do see the Fangman going for the unhook as we speak, but they're going to be dropping off. So, I mean, at the very least, they know there are 2 survivors off of gens, which is great news for Osaka and Deathwish, to say the least.
True, you are very much toying with the stars. Letting yourself get hit like that. Interesting. I wonder if that's on purpose to bait the chase. I'm really curious why they let them have that hits. Yeah, you can drink up now.
Definitely was a bit odd.
Oh, is this Snowball incoming? That is an injured Survivor that did the unhook.
But looks like we're going to tunnel out the Claude instead, or at least attempt to. There's the BT hit, and we do not see the follow-up hit from the Corrupt Purge. But this area is a bit of a dead zone, so Claude is going to have to be very careful, especially as there is another pool here available for Osaka to use.
Good read by this Survivor, running around, using the line of sight. However, that will be a down. 2nd gen done for these Survivors. Do you have decisive?
Yeah,
they're gonna push the Survivor off.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. This is an injured Nia. You have your pool still up. You have 1 Survivor on the ground. The only thing would be if Claudette has Unbreakable, you will be in a world of hurt here.
Absolutely. Oh, when she took the stun.
That was unexpected, to say the least. That will remove the Plague's power from the board. Though we are moving up to another active pool that the Plague could refill on here. So that may have been a strategic choice, not an accidental one.
That is fair. That is fair. I mean, to be fair, there is the mind game. Like, obviously, Survivor's like, oh, the Plague's not going to stun them. They read the mind game correctly. It's like, oh, they're going to, you know. That's the crazy thing. Is the mind games, the reverse mind games at this high level, trying to like just flip this coin. Okay, are they going to do this mind game or not? Or are they just going to, you know, a whole W brain dead maneuver?
Yeah, no, that is a fair point there, where especially with Plague, where you can get a stun on her and rob her of that Corrupt Purge. But that is now the 3rd gen completed by these survivors. They just need 1 more to secure the tie and 2 more to secure the win. And with still 4 survivors in the game, things are not looking great for Osaka and Deathwish.
True. I would be sweating it right now. Was the play to go for the hook instead of chasing off the knee? I don't know. I obviously, if you hit the DS at that point, it's almost GG. But at the same time, I don't know. It's so close. I think I might have preferred to see Pain Resonance. Honestly, I think Pain Resonance would have done more than Ruin. Ruin and Undying were just gone.
That's what I'm saying. Some people are going, oh yeah, no, Ruin and Dying for that just early game pressure kind of slowed down the game in some capacity, but at the same time, it just doesn't do a lot. These survivors, especially at high levels, know where these spawns are.
Yeah.
And so chances are they're just going to pop off left and right like it's a game of pubs. And so I definitely would always just prefer, pop, Scourge Hook, Pain Resonance, and soon to be Call of Brine.
Yeah, I would tend to agree, and they do get the Fang down here. They got the unhook on the Claudette. I don't know how much distance they were out. It seems like they were getting, yeah, they got plenty of distance away, and there's no 3 gen here. I do not know. Oh, that would have been cute if they got that hit.
Yeah, it would have been a really good mind game there, but yeah, I think at this point, this is pretty much the swan song, probably one of the last chases that we will be seeing. And I think with this last gen popping off, that there will spell the end of the match.
Yeah, there's just not much play can do with the Shack when the pallet's still up. You have to get rid of that pallet. Survivor's still on the ground, but I imagine, yeah, there is that 5th gen. Basement.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Plague has decided, you know what? The game's over. I'm just gonna chill out in the basement here. We see a for the people there in the distance, and I think we can check out and see what the survivors are doing. See, just shine a light at Claudette waiting here at the exit gate, and there's only 3 out of the 4 survivors. There's the ace, and that will be the 4-man out.
Unfortunate for this. I mean, again, it's a tall order, and I understand, like, the Ruin Undying does offer a slowdown, but it is... unless you get both of them in the corn, I'm not really sure what you can expect. It's... yeah, maybe Pop or Call of Brine. Honestly, Call of Brine Pain Res might have been a sweet combo, but hindsight 2020 ultimately.
Well, keep in mind, Call of Brine's not available in qualifiers.
Right. Oh,
will be available in the regular season.
That.
But even still, I mean, I still think Pain Res Pop might be a good call here, just as you need that passive gen regression that is reliable and that extra 15% just, when you get the hooks. Though at the same time, I will say Torrent Creek is a bit of a larger map where the hooks could just be isolated into corners and you're just in pain as the killer.
That's true. Yeah, the hook RNG can be a bit rough. I will say I have seen some really good hook spawns before where, you get 2 Scourge hooks at main, you get your pool right there. Like, and that's ultimately Plague's downfall, I feel like, is she's such an RNG killer. You have to hope that you get good pool spawns, and the pool spawns weren't horrible. You had one at both ends of the map, but you also had one kind of central. The pool wasn't the issue. It's just those totems didn't last more than a minute. Survivor's like, oh, there's Ruin. Gone. And they were gone within 15 seconds of each other, too. That's what's insane to me.
I mean, that's what it comes down to. Teams have maps of every map with every totem spawn possible, and they're looking at them constantly. Just being able to say, okay, it's not here. Let's go to this next spot, this next spot, this next spot. And yeah, it does slow down as at least one survivor's off of gens during that time, but still, the amount of value that it gives you is so few and far between.
It's kind of like the whole purpose of bringing Corrupt is to have that 2-minute chase period with a 4-gen that's, good pressure. But survivors just take the time to do a cleanse Ruin. It's really unfortunate. I've heard, and again, this is just speculation, I've heard really cool ideas about how to rework the totem system where they spawn in over time. I would love to see something like that at some point where the totem spawning, because if you play Killer, you know what it's like in pubs. You're like, all right, we load in, we got Devour Hope, we got the squad, and then you're in the process of walking across the map and your totems are gone. You're like, are you kidding me?
Yep. Been there, felt that. No, thank you.
Yeah, for real though. It's unfortunate, but with that said, GG's to Deathwish, but congratulations to Millennium as they will be taking home the point for this round. And that's 1 of 4.
And it looks like we only have one more round left or one more match left in this round.
I was about to say,
with Descent.
Did like half the teams drop it all of a sudden? Or like one more round? Don't do that to me.
No,
I want more games.
Just a dyslexic being dyslexic, but we have Descent versus Affinity finishing up as we speak. So once we know the winner of that match, we'll be going right into round number 2. So with that being said, we are once again going to take a quick 3-minute break. As a reminder, guys, we do not have a sponsor. If you know one, let us know. But otherwise, all of your bits, all of your subscriptions, and you guys watching ads we're about to play all go to supporting champions of the fog and casters like Rue. So definitely make sure to stick on through that.
Desperate. I'm kidding. Well, am I? I'm sorry. I had to. But yes, thank you guys for your continued support. It is very much appreciated. So stay tuned. We'll be back in just a moment with round 2 on the way. Stay tuned. You've been watching Champions of the Fog.